Today we'll be finishing my workbook called Nehemiah Part 1, Rebuilding the Wall, which covers Nehemiah 1 through 7. Looking at the table of contents, Nehemiah originally starts off in the Persia palace under King Artaxerxes, and he gets the call from God to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem. And once he gets the approval from the king, he goes down to Jerusalem. Now, in chapter 4 and 5, we have a detailed list of who worked on each part of the wall. And so that goes through the whole wall from the sheep gate all the way around to the sheep gate. But now in chapter 6 through 8, we hear some of the problems that happened while they were building the wall. That neighbors definitely did not like it, and they were ridiculing and mocking them and causing various difficulties. But that wasn't the only problem. The nobles were taking advantage of the commoners, and then many of the nobles were trying to cause problem with Nehemiah too. So there was quite a lot of things going on, but Nehemiah held firm to build the wall. So now we get down to chapter 9. The wall was built, by the way, in 52 days, which is unbelievable. Celebration and remembrance. Nehemiah 7, 1 through 73. Obviously, some of that is paraphrased. Nehemiah 7, 1. After the wall had been rebuilt and I had set the doors in place, the gatekeepers, the magicians, and the Levites were appointed. I put in charge of Jerusalem my brother Hanani, along with Hananiah, the commander of the citadel, because he was a man of integrity and feared God more than most people do. What was the last item to be set into the walls? The doors. The doors were made of wood and the walls were made of limestone. Now that everything was completed, who was appointed by Nehemiah? His brother Hanani and along with Hananiah. The magicians and Levites were selected to lead the people in worship. Well, I'm sorry. Okay. Who did Nehemiah put in charge of Jerusalem? His brother Hanani. Hanani was the one who came to Babylon and told Nehemiah about the state of Jerusalem in Nehemiah 1:2. Also puts Hanani over Rephaniah and Shallum, who were the rulers of the half districts of Jerusalem. Who did Nehemiah put as commander of the citadel? Hananiah. What do we know about Hananiah? He was a man of integrity and field guard more than most people did. Nehemiah 7:3. I said to them, the gates of Jerusalem are not to be opened until the sun is hot. While the gatekeepers are still on duty, have them shut the doors and bar them. Also appoint residents of Jerusalem as guards, some of them at their posts and some near their own houses. Now the city was large and spacious, but there were few people in it, and the houses had not yet been rebuilt. Now Nehemiah gives instructions to Hananiah. What are the gates of Jerusalem to be opened? From the heat, when the sun is hot, and shut the doors before. The gates are normally open at dawn and closed at dusk, but in this case, they're waiting until almost noon. When does Nehemiah want the gates to be shut? Before the gatekeepers go off duty. Who did he want to be appointed as guards? Residents of Jerusalem. Therefore, everyone would have a turn at keeping their own town safe. It seems that Nehemiah is worried about an attack. Who might attack the newly walled city of Jerusalem? The neighbors. How is the city of Jerusalem described? Large and spacious, but few people in it. These walls that Nehemiah had rebuilt survived from 444 BC to 70 AD when the Romans destroyed them. Nehemiah 7:5. Then God put it into my heart to assemble the nobles and the officials and the people to be enrolled by genealogy. And I found the book of the genealogy of those who came up at first, and I found written in it. Nehemiah is about to read from the book of genealogy that is written in Ezra 2. Since this is covered in detail in my workbook on Ezra, I have just listed the two side by side. There are differences, but based on the fact that these are scrolls written by people, the differences actually verify both lists are real. Who decided that Nehemiah should assemble the people? God. What is going to happen to the people presently in front of Nehemiah? I don't know. I guess he's going to read it in front of the people. What is Nehemiah going to read from? The book of genealogy. The first exiles to return were 538 BC, and it's now 44 BC. How many years have elapsed? You could do the math. 94 years. Nehemiah will be governor for 12 years. He will return to Babylon in 432 BC. Then in 430 BC, he'll come back to Jerusalem. Evidence of this is in Nehemiah 13, 16 through 17. So now in the next 2 pages, which I won't read in detail, Nehemiah reads the list of exiles that returned with Ezra in Ezra 2. So Nehemiah's on the left side and Ezra's on the right side. It's similar, but not the same. So I basically have shown you side-by-side comparisons. I'm not going to read all that. So I'll just let you have a chance to look at it. You could certainly stop the screen if you need to compare. And then this is continuing it, how side-by-side comparison and what they're coming up with. And then here. And lastly. Okay, so that's the end of my first book on Nehemiah. And so I hope you enjoyed it. It can get pretty tough. The second part of Nehemiah, when I do it, is going to be a really tough book to try to describe online, but I will slug through it. Have a great and wonderful day. Thank you.